Salutations. Welcome to Kindra's Corner. At the time of the recording of this video, we are about to enter into the Sabbath of the fall equinox. We're crossing the threshold into the dark half of the year. It's a time of year where many tales of the paranormal awaken, and it's the perfect time for tales of terror and horror. So, keeping with the theme of horror, today I'm presenting to you a work of horror fiction, and as you see by this video's title of the work is Having Sam for Dinner. And it is the second book I present on this channel by the amazing indie horror author Corvina Sweeney. I love Corvina Sweeney. She is an awesome person. She is a beautiful soul inside and out. And her mind is so darksomely, creatively twisted. I love it. I love the work she puts out, and she is a powerhouse of creativity. The stories never stop. She keeps putting out these amazing books. Now, Corvina Sweeney is a fairly new author in the indie horror scene. However, she already has a solid base of publications under her belt. And forgive any noise outside, there's a lot of trucks driving by. I'm on a corner, even though I'm on top floor of the building here. There's still, I still hear all the noise downstairs. I'm at a crossroads. So sorry about any noise. I can't do anything about that. But getting back to Corvina Sweeney, her genres are that she specializes in is mystery, comedy, and horror. Now, not that she's writing comedy, but the comedy is intermingled into the mystery and into the horror. And it's not necessarily that mystery and horror are separated. Her books that I have read so far are they're woven together in a very hot, chaotic mess that is just beautiful. And I love it. I love reading how her books, because she really, her characters are engaging. You feel really engaged in the story, and they're very relatable. Her characters, like, you feel like you know these people, or you want to know them. At least some of them, until they things turn, you could say. However, I highly recommend any work by Corvina Sweeney. Now, interesting thing with Corvina Sweeney, she's not just an author of horror and a fan of it. She's also a practicing witch and runs her own coven. And this trickles out, her witchcraft knowledge also trickles out into her books, but she also writes nonfiction work on witchcraft. She has one book out now that is for beginners. However, a witch at any level could benefit from this book. It holds value because she actually put in her personal spells in there, and we all could use more spells as witches. So why not, you know? And I believe it's still on the market. I do want to get it. I noticed on Amazon she had a work on cooking, her spooky cookbook, you could call it, but recipes. So I'm interested in that, and I highly recommend checking it out. I'm going to link her Amazon profile where you could check out all her work. I'm going to link that down below, along with Corvina Sweeney's website. She recently redone her website, and I loved the first website, but this new remake is so hauntingly beautiful. It's you got to check this out. I highly recommend to sign up to her newsletter. That way you could keep up to date with the projects she's working on, what new titles will be coming out and when, and anything. You want to keep up with her blog. She has amazing stories in her blog, and also the backstories to some of her books and her characters. And you can learn more about her as an author and as a person. So I highly recommend to check out her website. You won't be disappointed. And she also has in her blog some stories, like personal stories of the paranormal, things that she actually lived. And I'm telling you, this stuff is like almost surreal. It's hard to believe that she lived through this, but these stories are true. She lived through it. Like, I had many paranormal experiences and lived in a few haunted places in my life, but nothing compared to what you'll find in her blog. So please check that out if you're into horror, paranormal, and all things macabre and interesting, and with lacings of the occult here and there. Go and check that out. You'll love it. Now, a little recap here on the Coven. As you see, the Coven, just to give you an indication in case you missed my last video, but please go back and watch that one on when I reviewed this one, and it was on Beltane time. Just to give you an idea how her books are, just when you think you have the story figured out, she throws a curveball at you, and then it totally changes and unfolds into something else, and then somehow still kind of comes back around, is the best way I could describe it, at least with the Coven, which the main characters are witches, and I love their sarcasm, and I got a lot of good laughs out of this book, but also very entertaining and interesting. A little bit of mystery in here, lacings of romance, and the witches. The thing about these witches and sarcastic witches is that their spells kind of go array. Now, because of this book, as I stated in my review for it, I will never see the demon Beelzebub the same again. And there's a zombie in here, Kevin, who now is a very popular character, and he's going to continue. And I'm not sure. I think she's going to be reworking Kevin into other stories, or there's something going on, anyways, in the near future involving Kevin. And as a zombie, as a zombie and a character now, fictional character, he has developed some kind of egregore and is becoming his own life of his own. And he changed. He became something else. And I follow Corvina Sweeney. I'm going to link her socials below for TikTok, X, Facebook, and I know she's other places, but those places I know her from. So I'm going to link those down there so you could check her out. And through her website, you'll find other ways of contacting her there as well, or where else you could find her work. I'm like I said, I'm going to link her Amazon profile below too, so you could check out all her stuff. But just to give you an indication, she has this going on in Coven. So you have the demon Beelzebub, you have Kevin, who was actually created by the witches, turned into a zombie by accident, and then you have killer squirrels. She just throws this killer squirrel thing at you. And what I also love about this is not just her characters and how she writes, but also that the places are real life places. Like, this takes place in Albany. It's a real place. And having Kevin for dinner takes place in a Louisiana town called Slaughter. Now, what a better name for a town for such a story. But Slaughter is a real place, and you can visit it. And I would like to, although after reading the book, I don't think I'll ever live there. Not that what's written in the book is true, but you never know. It's Corvina Sweeney, right? She's taking things, uh, stuff for her books from real places, real people, so you never know. Anyhow, if you check my video with the Coven, like you all know, I won this book in the contest on over on X, and there's part of the contest was I had to name people, well, not just me, but whoever entered had to name objects that are in the book, and one of the objects is butt plugs, and you will see in that video for here's her dark twisted humor. She sent me this giant, it was pretty, very large, novelty jeweled purple butt plug, metallic, and of course other stuff, which you'll see in the video if you go and check that out. But also, with having Kevin for dinner, she also sent me some what I call Corvina surprises, and I love her dark sense of humor, and I'm sure you all will too. Give her a chance. And before I forget, Corvina is part of the Dark Veil Society, which is a society, an organization built up with and to feature indie horror authors. Check them out because there's a lot of other great authors and books there. And just an indication, like Corvina Sweeney now is with a new publishing house. So some of her titles, such as The Coven and Having Sam for Dinner, are being reworked. The stories are the same, but the books are being reformatted. So they're gonna have a new format and new covers. The Coven, as gorgeous as I love this cover, is now going to be more witchy in a purple cover. So how fitting for that. And Having Sam for Dinner, the cover also looks a little bit more theatrical horror. So I really love that. And the new release, the relaunch of the Coven with the new publishing house is going to be out on October 26th. Having Sam for Dinner, the relaunch of that will be out in December. The book you're going to see today is with the original cover, like this one. And there is a book in between that's coming out in October. And so I get the name right. I did write it down. Let me just check my notes here. It is Temptress of Weinberger Road. I love that title. And just the little blurbs that Corvina keeps posting on social media on this book. It sounds very intriguing, very alluring. And I'm definitely going to check that one out. I'm going to get that book. I'm going to review it everywhere. And not just here on YouTube, but I definitely want to read that book. But now, let's get to the pièce de résistance and do having Kevin for dinner. Now I mix up the characters. Having Sam for dinner, which is the concept of this came from a real life dinner party that Corvina Sweeney and her husband held with a group of friends to kind of initiate the new boyfriend of one of their dear friends that showed up. And yeah, so the concept of the book came on the gruesome prank that they played on this poor soul named Sam. But anyhow, when she sent me the Coven, it was a nice black package. This one is metallic. Of course, it got ruined because I tore off personal information here. But Having Sam for Dinner. Amazing read, entertaining. Now, the Coven, if you compare the two, Coven is more of more comedy. It's lighthearted. Having Sam for Dinner is darker. Now, Coven's dark, but dark comedy, you could say. Having Sam for Dinner is filled with mystery, filled with secrets, and filled with darkness. And you see my light glossy cover. That's my only issues. I don't like glossy covers. See, you don't see my light reflecting in here, but here you see it. So I'm going to try and hold it so the light doesn't get to it. I hope you guys can see that. Maybe like this. But this book, amazing. You get drawn into it, and you really you feel bad for Sam in it, but at the same time, you want to smack him on the side of the head because he's so damn gullible because he's love struck over this woman, Ellen. Now, Ellen is very mysterious. She's a little sarcastic. I like her character a lot, and but Ellen's torn between Sam and her obligations to an inner dark circle that is involved in some kind of dark rituals, you could say. And this dark circle consists of town members. Now, Sam is new to Slaughter, coming from the city. He's a city boy, and he moves to the bayou and never experienced the bayou before. And of course, right at the beginning, he meets Ellen, and they have an instant connection. Now, for Ellen, I think she thinks that she wasn't thinking that their bond would get so strong. so quick. So she's torn between Sam and keeping this deep, dark secret. Now, Ellen would love to leave the circle, but they're holding her there. They have a secret over her. They have something over her. So you got to read the book to find out what it is. Again, Corvina Sweeney manages to draw you into the story. She weaves you into the web of the story from the start. Like, no joke. From chapter 1, boom, you're in. I read the book. Originally read it on Kindle one day. I couldn't stop reading it. And now that I have the physical copy, which Corvina Sweeney lovely sent it. And trust me, she's not sponsoring this video in any way. I'm just a fan. I'm a fan of horror fiction to begin with, but I'm a huge Corvina Sweeney fan, and happy to also call her now a friend from online. I would love to meet her in person and just hang out with her for a day. She sounds like she'd be like a total blast. But anyhow, having Sam for dinner, it's not what you think it is. Let's just put it this way. So many people um, automatically assume, because of the little blurbs that Corvina Sweeney had put out promoting the book, that they know what the story is. But trust me, you don't know what the story is. And all I'll say is that, like I said, it's full of mystery, full of, it's intriguing. And what I love is, again, very descriptive how she writes it, but not like overly descriptive. Like there's some books that it just goes too much. No, it's the words she chooses. And because Corvina grew up in the bayou, she's from the land, is the magic she describes of it, and how she describes it, the scent of it. You could feel it. You could feel it's because she's from there, so she could describe it. It's in her blood. And so she's putting it in words that someone who's never been to the bayou before, such as myself, could never describe it in such a way to draw the reader into it. Like, I really felt like I was there. I could smell the humidity and the sweetness in the air. I could feel it as I was reading this. And one thing that is very atypical, and that's the thing, Corvina Sweeney books are, from what I experienced so far with them, the plots are very atypical. And it is not common at all. It's very rare for a book to have an alternate ending. You see it in movies sometimes. And to be honest, I'm not a fan of alternate endings at all. But I love the alternate endings in here, well, the alternate ending in here. The way it is portrayed and the way it kind of like splits, you could say. You have the ending and then you have the alt ending. I just love how she executed this. And I don't think there is anyone else out there who could match the way she's done it. Now, I've heard of another author, but I haven't read his book yet, that has done that, and apparently very well. But I don't know, because for this kind of story, you don't expect an alt ending, an alternative ending, and there's an alternative ending here. So check out Having Sam for Dinner. When you see them, if you, like I said, visit Corvina Sweeney's socials, or really, really, please check out her website. You'll see the new cover. Like, I love this cover, but I'm really hoping the new cover is going to be matte like this one, and I hope that the new Coven cover is also going to be matte format. I really love that over the high gloss, just for the fact that fingerprints show more in this, and the high gloss, like, look, you see my lighting in there. And it's like tarot card reviews. I feel for the reviewers when they're showing tarot cards and you see the gloss, you know. But look at this. Like, this is her. She put this together. Like, it's genius. It's nice. Nice. It's of course, only I would say having a skull on the table for dinner with a raven or crow there is nice. But it's a really good story and a great book, and it's not what you expect it to be at all. When you're reading it, I'm telling you, the way the chapters flow, the little segments flow. They just keep bringing you more and more into it, and things happen that you really don't expect. And certain characters who are part of this inner dark circle of the town of Slaughter, you would not expect them because you're introduced to some of the characters ahead of time before you find out they're part of this dark circle, and you're wondering, like, wow. But honestly, check out Having Sam for Dinner. And if you haven't read The Coven yet, where have you been? And you don't have to read this first to read this one. You could read her books in any order they come out. The stories are not related. So that's why I like to. So, because I missed some of her earlier books, and on the Canadian Amazon, they're not available yet. Or they were available, and then when I went to buy it, they're no longer available. There's something weird going on there with Amazon Canada and certain indie author books from the US. I don't know. But anyhow, but from what I read so far, they're all separated and they should be. And I love it. So, but please read this and this one if you want something darker. And yes, there is, like I said, the love interest, the warm romance. It's more steamy than you'll get. Like I said, comes just lace. It's kind of like an innocent romance. This one is kind of lusty. You could say, but I love it. I just love the book, and it's not a romance book. Trust me, it's just between the two characters of Ellen and Sam. And again, these are based on friends of Corvina Sweeney. So a new lover, a new beau that one of her friends had brought over for dinner one night. Corvina Sweeney's home for the first time, and that poor Sam, the real life Sam, and of course Sam's not his real name, it's the name for the book, but the real life Sam had no idea when he first met Corvina Sweeney and showed up for dinner at her place that he would end up main character in one of her horror novels. Awesome, I love it. And this is all I have for you today here. Oh yes, I promise to show you the goodies. Here's the goodies that Corvina sent me that go with the book. Oh no, I'm stuck. All right, let me see here. First, she sent me this skeleton back scratcher, or maybe I could use it to type. There's this. Of course, you have to have bodily autonomy bones for pens. And I tried to do a photo with these, but they kind of were too glossy, and because I wanted to use it for a cover on here, but I figured it out. And where's my, oh no, where did it go? One of my favorite things. Key to the secret ingredient. And if you want to know that secret ingredient, you got to read the book. But look at this. I love it. Isn't that gorgeous? I might actually use that for a bookmark. I don't know, but it's gorgeous. And here's the most funny thing. She sent me a couple packs. I don't know where the other one is. It might be in the book somewhere. These actually fell out of the book when I first opened it. Seasoning. Hot seasoning. Because, of course, it's a special dinner and you need special seasoning for it. So she sent me this, all part of the book. So I love it. And like I said, I love her dark, twisted sense of humor and her character and her, I don't know, her brain comes out through in these books. And like I said, I'm a huge fan of horror fiction. I'm used to reading more maybe campy horror fiction or more darker stuff. I don't know, like stuff from back in the 90s and stuff from Japan and that, or horror comics. I used to be a huge fan of horror comics. I still am, but I haven't bought any in like many years. But Corvina Sweeney, like what I love about this is she rekindled my interest, or my love, I should say again, for horror fiction. And with the Coven, lighter horror fiction or throwing some comedy into it. And seriously, before I let you all go, I'm going to say this needs to be a movie. And I told this to Corvina. You gotta make this into a movie. The Coven would be an excellent movie. Whereas having said, and when I say excellent, it's like around the genre kind of horror comedy as Drag Me to Hell. If you ever seen that one, I love that one. It's funny, it's dark. Around those lines, not at all like that kind of story, but around those lines. And having Sam for dinner would make a great mini series. You know, like Vampire Diaries, something nothing like Vampire Diaries, so much better. But a series like this, like a Netflix series or a Prime series or something like that, you know, this would make an excellent series. And that's my opinion on the books. These are my suggestions for you to go out and read and obtain. They're not expensive. If you're in the US, they're not expensive at all. If you're in Canada, with the exchange rate and the tariffs, prices on indie books tend to be like crazy, at least what I came across. Like I saw Having Sam for Dinner shoot up to $60 Canadian plus shipping if you're not a Prime member on Amazon. So it's crazy, but I think now it's back down to regular price. But you just have to keep an eye on that. And again, these are being relaunched. This one in December and this one in October, the end of October. So keep an eye out for the relaunches of these books, and because I'm not sure if you it's still available. I didn't check. So bad of me, I didn't check. But I'm not sure if you could obtain this copy still, or either of these copies still, seeing they're being reformatted and relaunched. Again, check with Corvina Sweeney's socials or her website to know. And I can't remember. I was on her website not that long ago, but my brain sometimes I've been busy lately and ill, so my brain is like have a lot of things going on. I can't remember everything, but I do remember I enjoyed reading this book a lot. So check it out, and I'll be back. My next book I'm going to review is going to be an occult book. Holding with interest very much for those interested in or who already are practitioners of traditional witchcraft. And as you know, on this channel, I like to present books that aren't popular out there. I like to present books that I feel are really authentic to what they are and to what the topic is about, and that could really benefit the readers of that topic. So this is it for now. Darkest blessings and blessed be under Lucifer's light always. Cheers.